Hello and welcome to the first code remix of 2026. Sam I am and Tim he is. How you doing, Tim?
Doing well, doing well. It's
Uh,
good to see you. It's
Good to
been a
see
while.
you as well. Good to see you. Yeah, it's been a little over a week. What are some Christmas traditions in the Netherlands that others might not have heard of, or New Year's traditions?
There is I think it's just my family, or Grandma swears that it's her the whole village, but I think it's just her at this point, of having pancakes with sausages embedded in them on
Oh,
like
that
the
sounds
night
pretty
before
good.
Christmas.
That sounds pretty good. I feel like even if that is just you guys, that is a tradition that is ripe for adoption, right? I feel like you could get a lot of traction on hot dog like it sounds very American. Like I'm surprised that hot dog pancakes are not already an American Christmas tradition. So I might have to try that next year
So
or this year,
it's
I suppose.
I can tell you from experience they are pretty good, but you do not get used to the first couple ones. Yeah.
Now, do you put like maple syrup on hot dog pancakes or just like eat them straight?
No, you put I
Maybe
think
some butter.
some syrup I think works,
Uh,
or some sugar,
yeah, maybe some
powdered
jam.
sugar.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
powdered sugar's good. It's real good. Well, very nice, very nice.
Huh.
Yeah, for this Christmas, I went over to a family member's house, and they have several children spanning a range of ages. And the father had put together a Christmas Olympics of
Hmm.
various challenges. You know, like a musical chairs, but it's like you grabbing a candy cane off a table, or like blowing out candles in a row. You know, fun stuff that people of all ages
Yep.
could participate in. And obviously I crushed those kids. They never saw it coming.
I'm imagining they're doing like full body checks, and then like
Oh
children
yeah, pick him
screaming,
up,
crying.
suplex over the
Yeah.
back. Take that, Kellen.
Yeah,
No, the
it's
kids did fine.
it's starting your own traditions. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. Okay, so what news do we have in the world of open rewrite? This will be helpful for me coming back after a weekend change out of the office.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, so we hadn't done a release for 3 weeks because the other option would have been like the New Year's Eve, and I didn't quite want to spend my New Year's Eve doing a release.
That's wise. You made the right choice. And like one of
Uh,
the even worse than like pushing to prod on a Friday is pushing to prod before a holiday.
yeah, it's like as much as we can control our end of things, you never quite know if the other end of like pushing to Maven Central holds up. And then I
Right.
didn't want to risk it. So
Right.
that means that we have 3 weeks of changes folding into this release that we have right now. It's OpenRewrite version 871, 71.0. And then, of course, with a bomb release to go with it. Now you can see the summary here on Blue Sky already. There's recipes for a lot of different Spring projects and related projects as well. But we also looked at the parts that we have for JavaScript. There's some additional recipes and coverage there. And we've added some recipes for migrating to the newer Kubernetes version 1.35 API. That also came out in the past couple of weeks. So if you want to get the full details, then have a look at a changelog that we have. Let me try to share that in the right chat right here. And then from there, you'll see the new recipes, and which are immediately available already too. Now, beyond that, if you want to learn more about those recipes, then of course we're doing our monthly trainings again. So we're going to do the first one next week, I believe. Yep, so that's with the introduction to OpenRewrite, where you can learn a bit about how to run recipes specifically. And then early next month, we're going to have a session specifically on authoring recipes. So if you want to have those two topics separate, then now is your chance to commit to shorter sessions that we'll do dedicated there. And we also have a special edition specifically to upgrading you to a newer Spring Boot version. So if that is of interest to you, then definitely look out for that one. There's a form that we have where you can sign up to join that special session. I'll share the link that we have there as well. That'll be going to the training hub. And then from there, of course, hope to see you there to explain all the different preparatory steps you can already take, as well as actually getting you across the line there. And then with that, finally, we have a couple quick announcements. Is that conference season is starting up again. Not only will Ryan Reynolds be at the NRF in next week, but we'll be there as well. So if you want to check things out in New York, then definitely come see us. We have a booth as well, so you can learn all about OpenRewrite, Modern, and engage with us there. And then coming up within the next 4 weeks is I'll be in Stockholm again. I was there last month, but I'll return next month, together with Merlin as well as our sales colleagues, to man a booth and tell you all about OpenRewrite and Modern. And I'll be doing a workshop with a friend of mine as well, and Merlin will be doing a talk. So hope to see you all there. So that's all the updates that we have for the past 3 weeks, and looking a bit ahead as well.
Very cool.
So,
and speaking of Spring Boot migrations, that brings us to today's topic and guest, the creator of the Arconia framework. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Why don't we go ahead and bring him on?
Yeah, sure. So welcome, Thomas. Good to see you.
Hello. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yeah, happy to have you. So, Thomas, I have only heard about the Arconia framework quite recently. Could you hit us with a sales pitch as to why someone who should be interested in this and why?
Yes. So I created the Arconia framework as a project where I started combining all different features and configurations that I typically use as an application developer building Spring Boot application. So I found some challenges that I recognized happening all the time across different applications. So I decided to get rid of all the boilerplate, simplify configuration, and enhance the developer experience. And that's how Arconia started. So it's primarily for enhancing the developer experience and for simplifying the adoption of cloud-native patterns when working with Spring Boot. So it's an add-on built on top of Spring Boot itself.
Right on. Well, that's pretty cool. What can you give me some examples of some of like maybe some of the rough edges you ran into with Spring, or the things you found yourself doing over and over that you're like, I got to encapsulate this?
Yes. So one thing that I do on every project is defining some configuration specifically for development and testing. And that requires lots of boilerplate configuration and requires also different types of configurations based on whether you run the application from a CLI or from a specific IDE. So I consolidated that into a library. So whenever I use Arconia, I automatically get a dev profile that I can use conveniently to define configuration only for development, and the test profile that is automatically applied when running tests. And starting from there, I had challenges when integrating my applications with other services. So typically I call some databases, some message queues, maybe I have Postgres, Redis, Kafka, and also that required configuration, maybe a Docker Compose file or test containers configuration code that I had to write. Spring Boot provides some low-level support for that, but I wanted to get rid of the boilerplate there and simplify the experience. So with Arconia, I drop a dependency in the project for Postgres or Redis. And then whenever I run the application in development mode, I automatically get a PostgreSQL database or Redis data store based on test containers. So for me, it's very convenient. I check out the Git repo, I run the application, and I get everything I need. No extra configuration and no extra coding. So that's just to mention a couple of features.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Basically, of course, any code you don't have to write also doesn't get out of date, doesn't have to be updated, doesn't start to drift between the different projects. And
yeah,
I can really see some benefits there.
Yeah, I used to say that the best code is the one you don't write. But then with all these Gen AI tools writing code for you, they kind of broke my statement. That wasn't true anymore, because the AI generated code is not necessarily the best code, right? So I changed my motto to the best code is the one you don't have to maintain. So
there you go.
That's my new motto here.
That's I think I'm gonna keep that little switch for myself, because I've said similar things in the past, and yeah, it's time to reconsider some of that. That's really cool. So I have occasionally, or maybe perhaps more than occasionally, seen often large enterprises come up with their own wrappers for Spring Boot. You know, they'll have some internal wrapper that does some of the same kind of things you're talking about, sets out their corporate conventions for interfacing with their preferred database or their preferred building and testing patterns. And sometimes after a few years, maybe one of the original devs leave, they find themselves where their internal wrapper has become something of an impediment, right? It makes it harder to upgrade to the newer version of Spring Boot. I've occasionally had people that we work with come to us looking for recipes to migrate away from their Spring Boot wrapper and get back to vanilla, as it were. What is there any risk of that with with Arconia? Like if I sign up to Arconia and then you move on to bigger and better things, am I stuck?
Yeah, that's a very important point. That's actually one of the reasons why I decided to make it open source directly. I started it because I saw the need for my own projects, but then I figured that, or I saw many other developers talking with different Spring Boot developers at conferences, at different events, that they had the same challenges. So I wanted to share these solutions, but also make it so that it's possible for other people to contribute and maybe go in a different direction if maybe they need something different compared to what they do. I think it's really important to, when building these kind of libraries, how to design it. So I try to follow all the Spring Boot conventions and paths. Spring Boot is very flexible, provides certain APIs, so you can provide your own implementation. And if following those paved paths, then it's easy to back out and go in a different direction. So also migrations will be easy because it will be based on standard Spring Boot features and behaviors. Of course, there's always the risk to go in towards a more creative direction, and that's where the danger is, because at that point, if you go outside, it's possible. So Spring Boot doesn't lock you in. You can do anything you can do in Java, right? But at that point, it's important to acknowledge the risks of doing that. So that's what I'm trying not to do, but still following, for example, Spring Boot auto configuration concepts, bean registrations, being able to override, provide your own customizations if you want to, and even make certain features back off if you want something different. So I think that's a really important thing to consider as a guiding principle, also as Arconia will evolve in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. You want to be future proof about these things, or at least not, if not future proof, then not like blocking off the future with the choices you make now. Future flexible, perhaps, is the kind of sentiment I'm thinking of. So, can you give me some examples of maybe some of those personal projects that you've used Arconia for yourself?
Yeah. So examples of this approach, or examples of
maybe things that you've built with Arconia. You mentioned that you were working on a bunch of personal projects and you found yourself repeating the same sorts of things over and over. So I'm just kind of curious, what projects have you used this for some examples?
So some concrete examples. So in the past couple of years, I've been contributing a lot to the Spring AI project to build AI-infused Java applications. And when building any kind of application, but specifically when building applications integrating with large language models, I really believe that observability is one of the most important things already during development. So not just in production, because there's so much magic happening under the hood that also when working during development, I really want to visualize everything that is going on, all the traces, metrics, logs. So I found myself continuously having to set up some OpenTelemetry stack locally, having some Grafana, configuring Spring Boot to export all these logs, metrics, traces. And that was one of the first things that I tackled with Arconia. So I wanted to make it easy just to drop a dependency in my project and get a full OpenTelemetry support, based, of course, on all the Spring Boot observability features and Micrometer APIs, but something that I can drop in a project and it works, including a full Grafana observability platform that is available locally for me. So that's one concrete examples.
Nice. Yeah, we quite like using Grafana for visualizing our operational metrics as well. I used to, just as a matter of my own background, I used to work at Tableau, which makes data analysis and visualization software. but it has a very different way of going about it from something like Grafana. So I find myself knowing like what I want and then not knowing how to do it in Grafana, and going to some coworker who knows it better and be like, could you make a chart that's kind of like this? That would be great. Thanks. But yeah, so I'm very interested in what you're saying about doing AI development. Oh, and here's my assistant, Naz. Very interested in what you're saying about AI development and the early need for telemetry. Can you talk a little bit about how adding telemetry to your AI development has helped you work out problems in that space, better understand the application development? So what you're saying makes like that sounds like that makes sense and is interesting, but I haven't personally experienced that yet, not having done much AI application development.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the low level, when interacting with an inference service, for example, I really like working with Ollama because I can run everything locally. I need to send some prompts, some messages, but that's a very low level interaction. So what frameworks like Spring AI do is providing different features on top of it. So for example, they can augment prompts for you in order to accomplish retrieval augmented generation, or for accomplishing special tasks, or maybe you want to return some JSON formatted output from the model. So all those things that the framework conveniently can do for you, they're kind of a black box. So from the outside, if I'm calling my application, I know my input to the application, but I also really need to visualize all the things that the framework is doing in between my input and the final call to the model. So for Spring AI, that was one of the main features I contributed to the framework. Actually, I contributed instrumentation for Spring AI itself to generate these metrics and traces and logs, a big part of it. And then on the other side, as a user, I needed a fast way and an easy way so that I could consume all that information without spending too much time, because AI is evolving so fast. So I was building so many different applications or helping others learning Spring AI, and I was continuously copying and pasting this configuration YAML file of the different components for Grafana, or configuration in Spring on how to export OpenTelemetry. So at some point I said, okay, that's enough. Let's put everything into a single library that I can add to the project, and that's it. I don't need to do anything else, because it was really getting, I was spending lots of time on that.
Yeah, the fun part of any, I'm sorry.
And of course, it's with things moving so quickly, I definitely see value in having a single library that you pull in, rather than something that you copy a couple of times and then regret every time that you've copied it and have to adjust it.
Yeah, absolutely. Setting up the project and getting all of your dependencies loaded and configured and connected is rarely the fun part. So we're all about reducing developer TDM and automating away the repetitive stuff, here at Modern and OpenRewrite. So I think you said something about OpenRewrite recipes as well.
Yeah. So I think OpenRewrite is one of the key tools that helped me like evolving the Arconia project, because already for one of the very first releases, it's not GA yet, I should say. So the version 1.0 is not out yet. So you could say it's fine to introduce breaking changes and to do lots of different things without thinking about backward compatibility and all those aspects. But I think it would have been really bad if I decided to do that. Not only for all the people that were maybe trying out Arconia, but also for me, because I use Arconia a lot in a lot of different projects. So
probably one of the biggest users, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So even if nobody's using it, I am. And I don't want to manually, fix all the breaking changes I introduced myself. Like that would have been really silly. So OpenRewrite was really, it was a no-brainer.
That's
both
great.
For me as a maintainer, because it means I can do all the changes that are needed, even if they're breaking changes, because I know that for me, it's easy. I can run the OpenRewrite recipe and I can update my applications. But if people start using Arconia, then they can also feel safe that even though the project is not GA yet, we don't have a 1.0 release, they can still try it out, provide feedback, and they don't have to spend time dealing with breaking changes because it's all automated. So I see this win-win situation, like both for, from a maintainer perspective, because you really feel this freedom of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's open source. It's not GA yet, so technically, you could just go rogue and make all
But
breaking
you want to
changes.
do right by
But
your early adopters. They were the
exactly,
first people who
exactly.
believed in you. You know.
And this is the most important time actually to create that trust. So I think, yeah, win-win situation for me as a maintainer, for me as a user, and for the other users, of course.
Absolutely, and that's something we've long talked about and hope to see more of throughout the industry is library and platform maintainers taking responsibility for maintaining the library and platform, not just in their own repository, but in the hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of repositories that it's actually used in, so to get exactly the benefits you're talking about of having the freedom to innovate, right? I know I, as a programmer, often don't know the right way to do something until I've already done it once, sometimes twice.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, by the time you've done it, you're like, oh, I see all the mistakes I made in this API. Do I leave them there even knowing that it's not the best way this could be done, or do I screw over the people who were my early adopters, who believed in me, who trusted me the first time? So I like that automation means I don't have to make a difficult choice there about whether I'm sabotaging people with the worst API or sabotaging them with an unpleasant upgrade process. So
it was also a very key tool for Spring AI. Like I was contributing a lot, like right before Spring AI went GA with version 1.0. We were doing so many changes. I was contributing lots of different features. So I also felt the need for introducing OpenRewrite recipes, so that even though it wasn't 1.0 yet, but so many people were using it. Of course, AI is all the hype now. And so for me, it was also important to provide, and I did it from Arconia, recipes for Spring AI for the different milestones, all the steps before getting to 1.0. And now I'm already working on the ones for the next major, which is Spring AI 2.0, which will be based on Spring Boot 4. So it will also introduce some breaking changes. I think it's invaluable, and I can really recommend any project maintainer to think about it. And again, not just for the users, but also for the maintainers themselves, because it can simplify a lot of things. Like at the beginning, I was writing release notes next to the recipes. And then I figured out, but there's no reason. Like OpenRewrite has such a nice format that if you don't want to use the OpenRewrite recipe, that's fine. I mean, you can decide not to, but then you can read the recipe and immediately understand what's happening. Yeah, exactly. So no need also to maintain release notes and review them, improve them, because it's all written in a declarative format that can be easily understood from tools, but also from humans.
That just gave me an idea for a new recipe, potentially with a little bit of LLM integration, that would go look at a declarative open rewrite recipe and produce maybe more fully human readable release notes of taking, like the declarative invocations of like your change type and your upgrade dependency version, pretty self-explanatory with what you see right there in the declarative recipe. Whenever it calls out to like a named imperative recipe with no parameters, well, like you are inferring what you can from just the name alone, or you have to go and look at its full human readable name and description. And it wouldn't be hard to write a recipe to like go do that, right? Go grab the human readable name and description and like create a release.md from the recipes. Yeah, maybe we need to coin a term like recipe-driven releases or something. Like, your release is ready when your release notes generated from the recipes fully describe everything you have to do to migrate to it.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah. I was on a call yesterday where this was specifically a question like, okay, you have recipes, what do they actually cover? And I think this type of generating that wiki page, maybe pulling in the documentation examples that we have, could be a great way to document the coverage that we have.
Yeah. So when you write recipes, Thomas, are you mostly having an LLM write them, or are you writing them yourself? What's your approach to getting good recipe coverage for your Arconia releases?
So I started with imperative recipes, and mostly by hand. I tried in some cases when there was, for example, I had at some point, I think it was Spring AI itself. They changed the naming of all the modules to comply with the Spring Boot conventions. And I wanted to sort the list I had already written the recipe. I didn't want to sort it manually, alphabetically. And then I just went with Claude, please, can you sort it alphabetically? Great, it worked. Except that I found out it just changed all the package names to something else. So he invented the names, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it by hand. So
yeah.
I mean, I try to use it when it makes sense and I see some value, but sometimes the experience is not great.
So
But,
it does
yeah.
sometimes feel like corralling like an overeager child. You're like, start working on this task, and it's like, okay, and then veers off over there. Like, no, come back. The task is this way. And veers off over there. No, come back. The task is this way.
No, but I mean, yeah, started with imperative recipes. Then I went to learn more about programmatic recipes. I have to say the documentation you provide with the project is amazing. And I really like this test-driven development approach.
Yes.
It's all about, like, it's great that you start from a test, and
Yeah.
it's very, very easy to write a test. And the focus also in the documentation about testing, and also in the pull request that you accept, made some contributions. So I think that's, I really like that approach. So I invite more projects to do that, to have that such focus on tests. So that documentation helps a lot. Tim helped a lot as well. Actually, I learned about OpenRewrite at the beginning from Tim. We met at the conference. And
do you remember which conference?
Spring I/O
2021, I think.
I think 2022. Yeah.
2022. I did not yet join Modern, so we were just sitting out on a terrace somewhere in Barcelona, and just I don't know.
Nice.
I'd learned about OpenRewrite myself just before that, and I told everyone who would listen to me, and we had a nice discussion. So,
yeah.
Barcelona is beautiful. That sounds like a good time. Sounds like a good time. I've heard that they're going to be apparently finishing the Sagrada Familia soon, after 100 years working on it, or at least finishing like the tallest towers. Like there's still some grand archways or facades that might need a little bit of embellishment. That'll be. I mean, it's already a sight to see.
Last I heard that they still need to knock down the whatever Burger King is on the left of it and go out that way. But it sounds like a good idea anyway. But
yeah,
Burger King's not my favorite. But hey, if they have software, I don't think any other fast food restaurants have bought our services yet. So if Burger King wants to become a modern customer and have their I don't know, burger flipping code refactored, I'm not sure exactly what need Burger King corporate would have. They probably have got some Spring Boot applications in there somewhere that need updating to the latest version. So Thomas, do you have just speaking of recipes, do you have recipes for anyone like using vanilla Spring Boot to adopt Arconia? Like if you already have a Spring Boot project kind of set up the way you like, is there any benefit to introducing Arconia at that point? Or is it mostly a thing for accelerating starting a new project?
New project, but also existing projects. I would say that the features I mentioned earlier, like these profiles for development and testing, that's easy to replace. I didn't write any recipe yet because there can be so many ways to configure that, because it's not in the code. It's Gradle, it's IntelliJ, Visual Studio Code. So who knows, maybe at some point something there. And the dev services also, they are, there's no single path to adopt. So because you can make your own code and configuration to set up Redis or Postgres. So I think the easiest way at that point is one by one. If you want to, for example, get rid of some compose file or some Java code for running a Postgres container, you just remove all the code and add the dependency, and that's it, because there's no code to write. So that part is straightforward. For OpenTelemetry, it might be more involved. So for that, I wrote some OpenRewrite recipes for migrating from what Spring Boot provides by itself to what Arconia provides, and made recipes for migrating from Spring Boot 3 approach to Arconia OpenTelemetry. And I'm still working on the recipes to migrate from Spring Boot 4 approach to Arconia OpenTelemetry. So
nice.
In the upcoming days should be out. So I try to use OpenRewrite also in that case. And also the other way around, like some features in Arconia, I like to upstream them if the upstream project is happy with that feature. For example, I implemented declarative tool calling functionality in Spring AI that originally I implemented it in Arconia just to test it out, get some feedback, and then I delivered it upstream. And more
Nice.
recently, it happened with Dockling. Dockling is an open source solution for processing documents using very specialized machine learning models. So it's very effective. And I was implementing support in Java and Spring Boot in Arconia. At the same time, the Quarkus team was doing the same there. So we joined forces actually and created the Dockling Java project. So I have streamed the Java code I had in there. Now we are collaborating to have a common SDK. And
Nice.
for that, I also provided a migration path in Arconia. So there's an OpenRewrite recipe that automatically migrates from the older Arconia APIs to the new Dockling SDK. So I like to
Awesome.
cover as much as possible with recipes.
Yeah, it feels like just a really good way to get your open source contributions merged in general, to not just be like, here's a pull request or here's an issue, but like, here's a running project that as a proof of concept demonstrates that this is a useful and good idea and has some actual users who are who can attest to that fact. Very compelling use case. Yeah. Tim, it looks like you had something to say.
I know that it indeed means you don't have to try to sell like some castle in the sky somewhere, but it's actually it's already working, and here's what you can adopt.
Yeah. I've often seen programmer arguments, whether internal, closed source, proprietary, or open source, be resolved. I think we should do it this way. I think we should do it this way. Be resolved by whoever goes and actually does it and demonstrates that their way works. Was like, well, we'll merge. This way has something to merge,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's good to show a proof of concept or something that actually works, and if people are using it, so it can show maybe strength, but also some maybe drawbacks or something to improve. That's what I like about open source in general. It's nice to contribute and collaborate. Whenever possible.
Yeah. So what are you kind of looking forward to for Arconia and the Spring AI or Spring ecosystem? Obviously, you've got your 1.0 release coming up to focus on, but that's in some ways that's just the starting line. Where do you see it? Where do you see it going from there?
Yeah. So for Arconia, so in the process, I'm also learning how to be a project maintainer. I have to say, like defining the roadmap at this level. As an open source project, it's kind of the first time. I mean, I do lots of open source contributions, but this is completely new project I made. So I was happy to see already some contributors sending some pull requests. They provided more implementations for the dev services. And I saw Tim send a pull request that I will review soon.
It's fine. It's fine.
Are you having trouble getting your PR merged, Tim? We have time here. We could do a code review live of Tim's PR to Arconia. No? Okay.
Yeah. But right now, also thinking about the 1.0 version, I'm trying to think also not just the code part and features, but also the whole structure. So I've been working on the contribution process and documentation. A logo for the project will come soon. I'm still refining the scope for the 1.0 release, but maybe I can just I haven't shared this, so it's the first time I'm saying this. So
world first announcement.
Now I have to do it because otherwise. But what I'm working right now and trying to get into Arconia is having a dev UI inspired by what the Quarkus team is doing. Quarkus is really great at focusing on the developer experience. So they provided inspiration for the dev services. They also have this amazing dev UI. So I'm trying to build something for Spring Boot that can provide some UI, for example, for these dev services that are implemented in Arconia and other features. So that's currently in progress, and I hope to get something to announce and release soon. But I think it will be part of the 1.0 version.
Awesome.
That I hope to release in spring. I know it's not GA yet, but I would like to invite people interested to try it out and share feedback, because the more feedback I get, the faster I will get to a GA version. Because if I don't get much feedback, maybe it's not ready yet to go GA, right? So
one of the best professors I had in college was a physics professor in our intro to college physics class, and he was explaining something about orbital dynamics, and and he turned to the class after lecturing for a few minutes and was like, "Are there any questions?" And there were no questions. And 99% of the times I've been in this situation throughout my education, the teacher has been like, "Great, moving on to the next thing." But this guy was like, if you're not asking any questions, it's because you don't even know what questions to ask. It means you're really confused. Because if you were understanding most of what I was saying, you would be having questions about the other part. So that you're not asking anything, you are baffled completely. Let me go back to that. So yeah, it's good to good to get some feedback like that from those early users. So a couple of questions that came to mind during that. So I'm curious about what you're thinking for the logo and the graphic design. To me, Arconia sounds like a place name. It sounds like Arcadia, which is maybe something you were referencing or channeling in that name. What are you imagining for the logo for this project?
So I'm glad you said that, because it's actually something like that, a place or a building. So the name came out. I mean, it wasn't meant to become a project like this, but at the beginning, the very first features implemented in the framework was for building multi-tenant applications. So I've been working with multi-tenant applications. I wanted to consolidate the code to define a tenant context and have multi-tenant database access, all those things, security. And while presenting that at Spring I/O, actually, the story behind the presentation was all these musicians living in the same building, and then some guitar gets stolen. And then we have to solve the mystery, and it was actually multi-tenants implemented wrong, but the inspiration was from the show called Only Murders in the Building, where the building is called Arconia. That's where the name come from. But they turned it into Only Rockers in the Building. I like rock music, so that was a more musical version of it. But that's where it came from. And then I kind of liked it because it also reminds of some place, also something maybe old but strong, some foundational infrastructure that you can build on, maybe in an easier way, in a
it sounds like a place that you would want to go visit, and there's probably like a cool castle there, and maybe you can like overlook the ocean or something. Yeah, like obviously you'd want to go on a nice vacation to Arconia. Like that sounds lovely. So Tim, you've got a pull request open. So what's your experience with using the Arconia project like that you got to the point of opening a PR?
It was mostly interesting to see the recipes that were developed and how they were developed. And of course, then I can't help myself and think we have some recipes to improve your recipes. So that's kind of what I ran.
Gotcha.
And then I stopped short of like, I don't want to be like telling folks too much how to do things. So I stopped at like, this is like a first set that we could be doing. And then of course from there, help further shape and help improve the stability of the recipes produced, such that everyone gets a good first impression, both of Arconia as well as the recipes with OpenRewrite. So
thank you so much for that. It's much appreciated.
It's just it's you gotta have a hobby, and yours is starting new frameworks. Mine is helping friends who start frameworks.
Good. It's good that you found each other. This is good friendship to have when those are your respective interests. So Thomas, on the subject from one maintainer of an open source project to another, have you you're soliciting community contributions and want maintainers? Do you have like a Slack or a Discord channel? Like where should people interested in maybe learning to use or collaborating on Arconia, where should they find you and maybe other Arconia experts or enthusiasts?
Yeah, so the project is all on GitHub. You can get there from arconia.io, where there's the documentation and links to GitHub. All the discussions right now happen in GitHub using the GitHub discussions feature. There are a few projects there. For example, the project with recipes where a team sent a pull request. There are other projects. I have a CLI project as well on top of the main framework. So feel free to check the website. There's documentation also on how to start contributing. I will improve that documentation. So it's great to get feedback also on that. For example, I got some requests for marking something as a good first issue for contribution. So I'm looking into that just to make it also easy for people new to contributing to an open source projects to get on board with that and opening a first pull request. So that's the place to chat about these things on GitHub. But of course, you can always find me on Blue Sky and LinkedIn, Thomas Vitale. And I'm always happy to chat about this.
Very cool. Very cool. Are there any things you have wanted to say about Arconia, Spring, OpenRewrite recipe development, being an open source maintainer that you that none of our questions or topics of conversation have yet prompted you to delve into?
Oh, interesting question. Well, I would like to say that, Arconia is an add-on to Spring Boot. So if you want to try out some new developer experience, or maybe you have some issues with OpenTelemetry and observability, or simply you're curious, please check out the documentation. If you have any questions about the getting started guides on the documentation, file an issue. I would like to make it as easy as possible to get started. And I would really appreciate any feedback. So it's still at this early stage, the project. So I would really appreciate any input and feedback. Yeah.
Right on. So how long until there's the first Arconia I/O conference?
Well, I can't answer that, but I hope I can get the first GA version 1.0 around the same time as the Spring I/O conference will happen in Barcelona. So maybe we'll meet again with Tim by the beach and talking about OpenRewrite recipes to migrate to the GA version of Arconia.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, Tim goes to every Java conference in Europe, so he'll definitely be there.
I hope to be. And until then, folks, eager to see you that can already register for like the Java Champions Conference in 2 weeks, right?
Yes, there will be the Java Champions Conference. It's online and free. You just need to register for a free ticket. I will talk about Spring AI, also with Arconia and Dockling, the project I mentioned earlier. So if you're interested in building AI applications and integrating with your documents, I'll give this presentation. It's going to be on January the 22nd.
All right. Yeah. Do we have a link to post to that, maybe?
Oh, yep. I just shared it in the chat as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Check that out. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at that. That'll be good. All right on. What about you, Tim? Any other topics you think we should touch on? Questions you haven't gotten to ask?
Maybe just a slight caution as a software framework maintainer as well. Like right now, you're hoping to get feedback and get users. It can also be troublesome to have a lot of feedback and a lot of users. But I hope that's a problem that you'll get in the near future as well. It's like
that's a good point.
Yeah, suffering. You can end up suffering from success for sure.
But yeah, it is a lot of fun to see things that you help build or help shape take form and get adopted. And from
thank you.
The sounds of it, you already have various modules that you developed, adopted both by Quarkus and Spring. So look forward to seeing what else can be, evolved and reshaped and reused in the same way.
Yeah, thank you. For me, it's really fun because I like building applications with Spring Boot. Spring Boot is such a great framework. So for me, it's also interesting, and I'm learning new things while consolidating all this code that I would otherwise have to copy and paste everywhere into these libraries. So it's
I'll be very interested to hear more once you have it about this about the developer experience and the developer tool, the console or dashboard, the developer tools that you're planning to integrate, the ways you get to a nice fast feedback loop and can get your finger on the pulse of how an application is working or not working is always of interest to me. So I'll be very curious to see what you come up with there. When I was first learning to program with PHP back in high school, one of the first projects I made was a website to display art, drawings, and illustrations that I had done. And so one of my first programming projects was to make like a little content management service for myself, where rather than having to like FTP into the server and like drop on an image and go and edit an HTML page. I could have a little database and an upload form and things like that. And, there was later on, or maybe probably already, there was like WordPress or something I could use. But, I made my own little development console for building my website. So that kind of thing has always been near and dear to my heart. So I look forward to seeing what you come up with there.
Yeah, I hope it's going to be a good addition. I'm really passionate about developer experience. Right now, I'm writing a book about this subject with my friend Mauricio Saladino.
Cool.
It's still in progress. The pending title is Developer Experience on Kubernetes, but the title might change. We'll see. But we're trying to map out all these development experience patterns that I'm also using and consolidating with Arconia. So that's also a very interesting journey there.
Yeah.
And OpenRewrite, of course, is part of the
Love to hear that. Yes. Love to hear that. If you get to the point of you need someone to review and edit or provide suggestions on the OpenRewrite chapters, definitely show it to Tim or I. Would be happy to take.
Yeah, we reach out definitely when we are at that chapter. Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Nice. Well, awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing your book come out and to attending the first Arconia IO conference. Maybe that'll also be in Barcelona, and to seeing where you go from here. Thanks so much for joining us on the program, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Excellent.
And hope to see you soon.
Likewise.
Thank you for coming, and thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully you had a good time, one and all. Until next week. Bye.
See you.